Hey everyone, it's Kat. I've got a new video for you today. So this is going to be my very best advice I can give to new and returning players to EQ2. And it's going to have nothing to do with what the best gear is or what quests you should be doing. This is kind of more about the approach, the mentality that you guys should have when coming back to EQ2, especially if you want to do all the endgame content. I've been playing for about 2.5 years now, and this is my experience. This is what I see when people come back, and I see lots of people that come back and it's fun and it's great, and they get right into the heroics, and others get frustrated, get upset, get bored, and end up not sticking with it. So this is my opinion. Might be a little, I don't know if the word's controversial, but you might not necessarily like everything I'm gonna give you guys for advice today, but this is what I've noticed makes some people stick with it and have fun with it and are successful, and others don't stay around. Okay. My first and my very best piece of advice I can give you guys is to join a guild. Okay, make friends in the game. And I know that seems kind of obvious, but this game is so much more fun, and it's so much more interesting and less frustrating when you play with other people, when you do groups. Okay, so the EQ2 community is small, but it's really one of the best out there, I think. Okay, everybody is so helpful, friendly, and we know how tough it is for newer players and for returning players that haven't been around for a few years to get back into this game. And as long as we see you guys putting in a genuine effort and really trying to get back into EQ2, then you will always find people willing to help you as well. Okay, and if what you want to do is, if you just want to play as a solo player, if you want to focus on crafting, if you want to RP, then what all you need to do is find a good social guild with people that you really click with. Okay, but if what your goal is and what you want to do is to adventure, and if you want to do heroics and do groups and the latest content, then you do need to be more selective, because you need to find a guild that actually does those things already. Okay, those are the people that are going to be experienced and knowledgeable enough to actually help you get there, versus, say, a guild full of crafters. Nothing against crafters, because I love crafting too, but like for me, like I didn't make the transition from crafting to adventure until I actually made those friends that did that, right? And that's what you guys need to do too, is be selective and find that guild that does that. So don't just pick whoever is advertising in chat. Don't just go with the first guild you see on the first guild page. Like, actually talk to someone from the guild, preferably a leader or an officer, someone with recruiting privileges, but ask them questions. Get to know a little bit about them, get to know a little bit about their guild. So things like, how active are they, right? So how many people do they have in their guild? How many 110s do they have in their guild? Now, that's not to say that you should just dismiss like the smaller guilds right off the bat. There are advantages and disadvantages going with the small versus the big guild. So like with the small guild, you're probably going to get a lot more attention, you're going to get a lot more one-on-one, and you're probably going to end up getting a lot more of their resources. So that might work for you. Maybe you really do need that one-on-one, versus the larger guilds where you're not going to get so much attention. You probably aren't going to get as many resources, but when it comes to getting groups, there'll be more opportunities and more different players to pick from. So it really will depend on you and what you feel more comfortable with and what you like. I know I tend to be more of a shy person, and I have I feel like I get lost in the bigger guilds. So for me, I like the small ones, but obviously whichever works best for you. You also want to figure out maybe how long the guild's been around. Like, have they actually been playing the last several X packs? One of the big mistakes I see a lot of new players make is when they'll come back and they'll just want to form their own solo guild. But then who do you really go to for advice or when you need help? But the other thing I see too is a lot of people come back with like a friend or two, and nobody has played for 5 years, but they're going to set up their own guild. And again, like the game today, it's not the same game it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's, if you haven't been playing the last several X packs, you're really missing out on so much knowledge and so much information. And it's going to be so much more frustrating for you to try to figure out what all this information is on your own. There just really aren't that many resources out there, and a lot of the information you'll find is conflicting. So pick someone that's actually doing it now and is experienced and is a good player, someone that you can trust that will give you good advice and help you, right? And find that guild, that's the guild that you want to be with, right? But also think about, well, ask about their groups. Like, do they have set groups? Do they have a regular group that plays? Do they have regular times? And if they do, like, are there any classes maybe they need for that group? What content are they actually running? Like, are they only doing CD stuff now? Or maybe are they still doing some of the pop zones? Probably remember from some of my past videos, like, there's still a lot of really good helpful stuff in pop, but it's also going to take most of you guys a little while before you meet all the minimum requirements to even do CD. So, but in the meantime, you can definitely do pop. And a lot of the pop zones don't only have helpful things, but it's doing heroics is where you actually learn how to play your tune, right? That's where you practice, that's where you learn, you get into that rhythm of, well, how do I play with other people? So, for healers, like, how do you learn to heal? You have to learn to heal in a group. So for tanks, like, you're not going to learn how to tank playing solo because everything's going to die way too fast. Like, you need to get into the heroics to actually learn how to do that stuff. So doing pop and getting that experience right away before actually going to CD, which is going to be much tougher, might be exactly what you need. Might be a great opportunity for you guys. So maybe keep that in mind when you're talking to them. And also think about, like, what kind of help do they offer? So talk to them, like, what will they actually need to help the newer players? I know that for me personally, I absolutely hate power leveling. Like, to me, it's boring, it's tedious, like, I can't stand doing it. But also because, like, I like to see people putting effort and work into their own tune. Like, and if I see you guys doing that, then I'm willing to come and help. I'm willing to come chip in. But power leveling to me feels very one-sided. Like, someone's doing all the work, the other person's just kind of running behind them. But, if that's something that you want, then that's something you should ask up front, right? Is be honest about what you want, and it'll go easier for you and for the people in the guild. Okay, so, but basically what you want to find out is, like, are they going to help you? Is this a good fit for your play style? Is this a good fit for your schedule? Obviously getting a group is going to be easier through the guild, okay? But I don't want you guys to limit yourself or restrict yourself to only playing with guildies, right? Not only should you make friends within the guild, but you should make friends outside of the guild as well. So network, right, is you want to build up this network of friends within the game that you can potentially play with. So, and you never know what kind of cool people and great friends you're going to make in your guild or out of it in EQ2. But the reality is that, people do quit this game, is that life happens, people get busy, or for whatever reason they just stop playing. Is that you want to make sure that you have that group to play with regardless of who leaves, so you can keep going. Alright, so the other thing I want to mention, and is another big mistake I see a lot of new people make when they come back to the game, is, and I suffer from this too, is that they have a zillion alts. So instead of trying to play 20 different tunes and not playing any of them well and not having any of them well geared, right? Pick a main. Pick one tune and focus on it. Okay? So if you want to play an alt, all the resources, all the things that alt gets should go to support your main. Okay? So the way it works is that it's so much easier to build up one alt, get that alt everything they need, their spells, their gear, you name it, infusers, the latest, the best adornments. It's so much easier once you have that one main that is in heroics and is running heroics well and is doing a good job there. It's then easier to pull up your other alts after that. Okay? Because if you start off trying to get too many alts to the same spot at the same time, like, no one's going to get there. You're just going to be stuck, right? And you're going to get frustrated and it's going to be boring. So focus on one main tune. Like, think about all the different things that are heirloom that you can trade to your main. So all the currency, the Archivist Tremis, the quintessence from doing the PQs, okay? Is none of that the alts kill what they eat nonsense. Like, don't do that. Right? Focus on your main. Like, that is what's going to get you guys into actually playing with groups, doing heroics, having fun. It'll be challenging to get that first tune there, right? Because you're going to have to relearn how to play and all this stuff. But once you do that, then it's so much easier to go back and get those alts and pull them up. And then you can look at things like, well, my guild, we could really use another one of this class, so maybe that's the alt that'll work on. But that's what you want to do, is get that first tune there and then go back, and then you can play the alts. I mean, I know we all love our alts. I do too. The way it worked for me was during the pop expansion, by the end of it, I had 3 tunes that could all run heroics easily, that all had the best in slot gear, that had all their spells upgraded. But had I tried to do 3 from the very get-go, it would have never happened. I spent, a good 4 or 5 months on my main, and then the other ones fell into place much easier. Okay? So my best advice for any returning member, any new member to EQ2, is join a guild, make friends, play in groups whenever you can, whenever possible, right? And pick a main tune and focus on that. Okay, thanks guys. I hope this advice helps you, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.